Welcome back to Dance Studio Owner Life Coaching. This is the podcast where I help dance studio owners who are overwhelmed and underpaid find peace and profits. So today's episode I am calling Well Fed, Well Rested, and Well Loved. Now, this was inspired by something I heard on another podcast, and they just talked about the concept of being a well fed woman. And for that, it was about, are you getting the nutrients and substance and food into your body where you work optimally? And the thought with that was, if you were to do that, then your cravings for certain things, your tendency to reach for quick fixes, like let me just get some caffeine, or um, maybe a sugar rush kind of thing. Those things would balance out a little better for you if you're well fed. And so I thought about it, and I think it goes beyond just a weight loss concept. For me, when I think about being well fed, it means, yes, that you're getting the nutrition that you need. You're actually taking care of yourself as well. And that's so important because I know that a lot of us, myself included, there are times when we simply run out of time or we forget to pack something, and we don't always make the best decisions. Now, I know some of you joined me with my binge eating episode with Nancy Sana. That was a few episodes back. Really popular episode because I think it resonated with a lot of people who feel like they do really well all day, and then they get down to the nighttime and they're just like, they're just going plowing through some stuff, right? And raiding the pantry, going in the freezer, grabbing all the ice cream or eating all the cheese cubes and stuff. So, but when we talk about being well fed, it means two things, right? One, you're getting the proper nutrition that your body needs. And two, that you're making sure that that happens on a regular basis. So the opposite of well fed would be malnourished. And that's where it's not a single day event, but it's an ongoing cycle of not providing what the body needs to work optimally. And so when you think about it that way, if we now flip it back to being well fed, you're getting what you need, not just on a day or at one mealtime, but consistently caring enough for your body for what it needs. Now, I am not going to tell you you need to eat less carbs and more protein and make sure you take all the different supplements you see on TV. I don't know your body. Only you do. You know what kinds of things help you to feel strong, help you to feel alert, help your brain to work, and you feel energized. You can get through the day and feel like you have a steady stream of energy to do the work that you need to do, to get up out of bed, to walk around, to take care of yourself and your responsibilities. And so only you know that. Only you know that, maybe with the help of your doctor and nutritionist. But the point here is that if we want to be in the best possible mindset for work, if we want to be in the best possible optimized operations for work and for life, the best possible scenario and foundation you can give yourself in order to be productive and creative is to be well fed. And that's something that's so important because I think that so many of us put that as an afterthought, or it's something that comes later. That the immediate thing when we woke up is that we checked our phone, we were looking at email, where we're checking our social media, our CRM, our marketing platform, we're looking at our numbers. Maybe we're checking on employees who need substitutes, but we're not placing the self care as the first thing of the day. And it can lead to some stress, right? Like if you start your day out looking at these things, um, you start to feel the immediate burden of all that has to get done. Now, if you reverse that and you say, okay, this is what I'm going to have today. I'd like to have these meals, these snacks, some advanced planning. Or maybe you're going to stock your fridge and your kitchen with the things that you know that you're actually going to eat and that you feel really good when you eat, right? Maybe it's that green tea that you tried at your friend's house and you're like, oh man, I got the pick me up without like feeling groggy. I would love that. No extra buzz, right? Or maybe there was a salad that you tried at a restaurant and you're like, man, I loved it. It was so flavorful and it had all these things in it. I think that it's important for us to think about like what are the things that we crave that are just so delicious, and why do we distance ourselves from those things, right? Like for me, there's this salad that I got at this Mexican restaurant, and I I remember thinking like I didn't ever think I would like eating watercress. It was like watercress, radishes, another thing I don't like. Watercress, radishes, and then like a whole homemade, house-made lemon dressing for the salad. Now, to me, that sounds nasty, like even to this day. Watercress, radishes, and lemon. Whatever this Mexican restaurant did, they made it absolute delicious. And instead of leaving it as a, hey, yeah, whenever I get out there and it's an hour away, I'll get it. Why can't I buy those ingredients from the grocery store and just make it for myself? Part of being well fed is listening to your body and not just the, oh, I'm hungry, but what do I really like and what's really gross, right? Leaning into what you actually crave and want. Lean into your own kind of food desires. Try new things, treat yourself. What if you plated your food differently, right? Instead of just slopping some mac and cheese on your plate, what if you arrange it nicely? What if you give yourself some nice sides? Maybe you do some different things. What if you treat your nutrition as an element of your self care that comes before all else? Because if the boss lady does not take care of herself, then how in the world is she going to take care of her employees, her customers, her family? You can't take care of other people if you don't take care of yourself because things are going to fall apart. And I know we all know this. And yet we do find that we forget the most basic things, right? So that's the first thing, well fed. The next thing is well rested. I was talking to one of my coaching clients, and she and I were talking about, okay, I feel like these things are just happening, and all this stuff is just driving me crazy, and I can't get things done. I just feel all of this. And I said, honey, you don't need to take on more work to try to get everything done. You need to rest. How much better would you approach your work? How much more clarity would you have in your mind if you actually got the rest that you need? This is again, you know your body best. If you're the type of person who likes to go to bed early and get up early, more power to you, sister. If you are the type of person who stays up late, gets up a little later, fine. Are you getting the right amount of sleep that your body needs within a 24-hour period? Are you the type of person who needs a nap midday? I know when I was pregnant, I would take a nap every single day at 3 o'clock because that's just what my body needed, right? And so, wherever you are in your life, focus on how do you make sure that you get the sleep you need, because this is a fact. For me, if I have a bunch of work to do, I will get that done quicker and more accurately if I am well rested than if I am suffering with insomnia. It if I'm struggling to get the right amount of sleep, if I stayed up too late watching a really great show on HBO, I am not going to be at my best to get work done when I have not had the right amount of sleep. So much so that I've gotten things done in an hour instead of 4. When we take the time to put these self care elements in front of the work instead of squeeze it in around the work, It reorders our life. And getting your rest is absolutely essential because these are the things that happen when you rest, right? One, you get your rest for your body gets renewal. Did you know that when you're at rest, that's when your body has the chance to heal itself? If you have an injury, if you have an illness, it is during rest that your body gets to work to do those things, not when you're running around. So if you're struggling to get through your day because you're sick and all these different things, this is why the doctors say the rest is best, because the rest is the time when your body can actually get to work and get the immune system working on the illness, to heal the muscles, to heal the bones and injuries, right? Not only that, but the lack of sleep, the lack of downtime can lead to all kinds of mental disorders where you feel different than you normally would simply because you didn't have sleep. It's not that you have a chronic issue, you have a disease. Sometimes it's that you just aren't getting the sleep you need. If you get confused and blur your words and you say these crazy things and you're like, what did I just do? Or you forget a conversation that you just had with a coworker, right? These are things that can happen if you have not had the rest that you need. And it is something that you can solve with rest. Now, I know you're going to come at me and say, I don't have time to rest. I got all these things to do. These employees are driving me crazy. Guess what? You make your schedule. You are the owner of the business. You set the precedent for what's expected. The time that you spend taking care of yourself is one of the greatest investments in an asset for your business that you will ever have, right? Because an asset is something that you own and it gives a return on an investment and it keeps giving back again and again. So when you invest in yourself, not financially, but with rest, you give back exponentially to whatever it is you are with, whether it's your home, your child, your husband, your wife, your job, your studio. You are going to give back dividends just because you have been well rested and you can operate optimally. So, the last bit is being well loved. Well loved is about our relationships. Um, I was talking with some of the folks in my group coaching, and the thing that we were talking about was imagining what kind of person a strong CEO would be. And one of the things that somebody mentioned was um, just being mindful of the company they keep. And I said, that is absolutely spot on. And the reason for that is, you may have heard this one, right? The the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, that's who you become. And if you think about the 5 people that you spend time with, it could be family and friends, it could be coworkers, it could be somebody on dang TikTok or YouTube, it could be somebody on TV. Like it could be anything that's in your life, in your ear, influencing you on a regular basis. And so you do become the average of the 5 people you spend your time with. When you think about it from that perspective, are the 5 people that have your ear the most on a regular basis? Are those the things that you want to become? Are you putting yourself in places and spaces where you're surrounded with people that help you to become the best possible version of yourself, the future version of who you want to be and who you are becoming? Do you surround yourself with people who encourage and inspire you to be Being well loved also means your relationships, right? Are you in a toxic relationship with a friend or a spouse or a boyfriend or a girlfriend, right? Are you in a relationship that is bringing you down? Now, it's not the same to just say, well, we get into some arguments and he really pissed me off, right? That's not the same. I'm talking about long range. You know, this is not a healthy relationship, right? A lot of times we will stay in relationships with people longer than maybe we feel like we want to, simply because we feel guilty or obligation or we should be able to work this out. But what I know is if you stay in a relationship with someone and you don't either address those issues, resolve them, or end the relationship, then you're going to continue down that road. Nothing's going to magically change if no one in that relationship puts the effort forward. It's not enough to complain about the relationship, right? Either you resolve those things over time or you end the relationship. Those are the only ways that like things can change, right? You make a resolution, you work things out, you communicate, maybe you get therapy, maybe you talk with a bigger group of friends, right? There's got to be a way that you confront those issues. Um, if you're struggling to connect with a family member, right? I know a lot of us are in that sandwich generation where we're both caring for our own children and caring for our elderly parents, right? We're sandwiched between these two generations that need our help. They need our help with activities of daily life, right? We're taking our kids to school, making sure that they've got food and clothes, and their sneakers don't fit anymore. And at the same time, our parents need to get to the doctor's appointment, and they forgot to take their blood sugar and all those things. And so, in that situation, it's hard to feel and connect because you're doling out so much love, but there's times when you feel like you're not getting it back, right? So when you're in this place sandwiched between these two generations, it's easy to feel completely lonely, right? You're surrounded by people and you feel lonely. Is there an opportunity to connect with someone else? Is there an opportunity to go out with a friend? Is there an opportunity to call somebody? What are the things that you can do to nurture relationships so that you are well loved? And again, because we're talking about self care, right? That also means your relationship for yourself. And um, if we talk about relationships, we know that one of the things that is important to help them thrive is regular communication. And it's not just enough to have regular communication because a lot of us communicate all the time with ourselves. But are we talking to ourselves negatively? Are we beating up on ourselves? Are we self loathing? Are we doing something where we're punishing ourselves? Well, I can't eat that because I didn't do this. I didn't go on the treadmill, so I can't do this. Or, well, I'm not going to go shopping for clothes until I lose 30 pounds. We're punishing ourselves, saying negative things. We're telling ourselves, you're just going to fail. You're going to mess this up. You can't do that. You can't be like her. You can't earn that money. You can't do, you're not as pretty as. We're saying these negative things, right? But if we were to communicate that to anyone else, we'd probably be appalled. Yet we're doing it to ourselves. So then what happens is it erodes our relationship with ourselves. And again, I'll say, if this is where you're at and you're not loving yourself and in loving relationships and connecting with other people and you are well loved, then are you operating as optimally as possible for your life and your business? So if we bundle all these three things together, right? Well fed, well rested, and well loved, we have three elements of self care that really remind us of some of the most basic things that a human being needs, right? We need the nutrition, we need the rest, and we need relationships. My friends, I invite you, if you are having a hard time with any or all of these three areas, What's one thing you can do to make a difference? Maybe it's buying something different with the groceries. Maybe it's treating yourself, going out with a friend and getting a nice lunch together and reconnecting after you've lost touch for a few months. Maybe it's setting an earlier bedtime for yourself, or before you go to the studio, you're like, freak this, man. I'm just going to go and take a nap and I'll set an alarm. What is it that you can do to set yourself up for success? I know for me, one of the things I did is I bought that sleepy time tea. You know, that sleepy time tea with the little teddy bear. I love that stuff. I find it helps me get rest, right? I like to also go crazy and like when I go to the grocery store, y'all know it's mad expensive out there, but I like to say, I'm not going to put a limit on the fruits and veggies. I'm just going to get whatever fruits and veggies and goodies I like. I also like to, if my body feels like it needs a nap, I'm going to just take a nap midday. That's totally okay because there's some nights when you don't get the sleep that you need and you feel groggy. Um, Also, having days off. The American worker was never designed to work 7 days a week. So if you have a quote unquote full time job, that's 5 days on, 2 days off. How can you rearrange your schedule so that you have the time and the space to get the food that you want, to get the relationships that you want, to get the rest that you want? My friends, you have more power than you know. You have the ability to make a change in your life, incrementally change the whole entire way that your life operates and how you feel about things day to day. This is within your reach. This is within your power, and it starts today. Choose one thing, one tiny step that will start getting you down this path. And as you implement that thing into your life, then, once it becomes regular, add another thing. This is not something you're going to go gangbusters in, right? You're not going to go say, well, I'm going to start sleeping better. I'm going to do this with this, and I'm going to eat like that. No, that's too much. You're not going to do an overnight change that drastically. Something's going to be off, right? Choose one thing, do it well. Now, friends, I am so excited because I have a series coming up on gifts because the holiday season is coming up. And so I hope you stay tuned. Share this podcast with a friend because very soon we're going to be talking about gifts and I cannot wait to share it with you. Until next time, take care. Bye bye.